Welcome to your weekly program, BelAhdan, the show that brings the other side of Arab American to living room. They are religious, they are fanatic, they operate with equity without...
Americans, I think, believe that there are about 145,000 U.S. troops on the ground in Iraq, maybe more than that with the surge in troop rotations. But what's almost never discussed in the media or among the general public is the fact that there are about 130,000 what are referred to as private contractors. Now, I think that's an erroneous term. I have a friend who's in construction, and when he heard that men with guns running around Iraq are called contractors, he said, I'm very insulted by that. Blackwater is one of the most powerful of these companies. Unlike Halliburton, which does what are referred to as logistical support services for the military, laundry, food, clothing for the troops, Blackwater actually is engaged in armed activity in Iraq. And so they have operatives that, for instance, have guarded all of the U.S. ambassadors that have been there under the occupation. They guard congressional delegations when they go in. They've protected several regional occupation offices inside the country. They're very much at the vanguard of the occupation. And privatization in war is nothing new. It goes back to the war industry itself, manufacturing weapons, manufacturing tanks, airplanes, etc. What's different right now is that you have a high percentage of those private contractors are engaged in armed activity. We're actually outsourcing part of the combat of the war. And so that's what's different in this equation from, say, the 1991 Gulf War. You had about 60-to-1 ratio of soldiers to contractors. In the current occupation of Iraq, it's almost 1-to-1. And so we see this very radical privatization agenda.
Yeah, you have 1-to-1. This is tremendous. So what are you telling me that, what's their legal status? Are they in uniform? What kind of uniform they wear? And who see them? Who's the oversight?
Well, they oftentimes don't dress like U.S. military. I mean, I think a lot of Iraqis rightly view the mercenaries and the soldiers as simply the occupation. But the fact is that with the military, we have something called the Uniform Code of Military Justice, a court-martial system that has been applied to U.S. soldiers in Iraq. There have been 64 courts-martial of U.S. soldiers under related charges alone in Iraq. There have only been 2 prosecutions of any contractors. Neither of them were armed contractors. One was a KBR employee alleged to have stabbed someone in a kitchen. The other pled guilty to possession of child pornography images on his computer at Abu Ghraib prison. That's the extent of the prosecutions of these contractors, despite many, many incidents that are well known of contractors shooting Iraqi civilians, engaging in other crimes. There's a system rife with unaccountability.
But Rumsfeld was talking about the total force, that you bring in the private contractor or private forces, and that would be part of our army that is going to spread democracy and whatever.
Well, I mean, there's a lot in that statement. I mean, I think...
privatization of our army, and the subtitle of the book, The Rise of the World's Most Powerful Mercenaries Army. Welcome to BelAhdan, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Quite a title here, and to be honest with you, the first time I found out about this book from Al Jazeera.
Yeah, I've been in Al Jazeera a few times. Yeah.
And I said, why our media are not covering these stories?
Yeah.
And so let's start with, what's your issue with Blackwater, and how is it different than Halliburton? This is a free market economy, and we bring in private enterprising and everything, outsourcing war, outsourcing violence. So why this company that attracted you, and you spend a lot of time and resources, looking at your resources, unbelievable. You talk to a lot of people, so you really have a personal vested energy to find out and share this with the viewers.
Well, I mean, the bigger picture to this, Ahmed, is that most